Welcome to your guide to DC's Absolute Universe. This is month 6 of the Absolute Universe being in full swing and the first month of our second wave of books. Today we're going to be taking you full through recaps and reviews of Absolute Batman number 6, Absolute Wonder Woman number 6, Absolute Superman number 6, and then our 3 newbies. We have Absolute Flash number 1, Absolute Martian Manhunter number 1, and Absolute Green Lantern number 1. I'm Katie, and this is Joseph. We're the Script Heroes. And every month we do a breakdown of everything you need to know about what's going on in DC's Absolute Universe. And we're going to start off, as we always do, with Absolute Batman.
Yes, Absolute Batman, in case you are unaware, is written by Scott Snyder and it's illustrated by Nick Dragotta. And let's get right into it. We start right where issue 5 had left off, which is with Gotham City plunged into chaos as party animal masks and weapon caches have been left all around the city by Black Mask. Mayor Gordon and Deputy Mayor Martha Wayne are trying to help by kind of stealing some of these masks and keeping the civilians away from them, but things quickly boil over as the masked civilians learn that both have $1 million bounties out on their heads. A confrontation makes it seem unlikely that they will avoid being killed for these funds. Meanwhile, Batman has for the first time sought the help of his friends, revealing his identity to them. They're seemingly less than thrilled, but Oswald still helps pilot Batman above the party animal's boat and drops him in, though he warns him no rescue will be coming. Batman fights his way through the party animals, including punting a child off the ship with a life vest, but still wild, until he finally comes one-on-one with Sionis, the Black Mask. After a long fight, Sionis is ready to strangle him to death when Batman drives his ears into Black Mask's skull, ultimately killing him, but not actually killing him.
No.
Following defeating Black Mask, Batman blows up the ship and the party animal masks deactivate, saving Gotham along with Gordon and Martha. Also, importantly, earlier in this issue, we see Alfred further hurting his relationship with his daughter by preventing her to returning to Gotham amid the chaos. Alfred then returns to save Batman from the wreckage and patching him up in the way that he refused to in the last issue. Very nice moment. We then get this crazy epilogue where we see the Joker potentially feeding off the blood of children or something horrifying like that.
He's wearing like a shawl of babies.
Yeah, hate that. And he is told of Black Mask's failure, where he proclaims it is time for Bane. And that
Truly
is
horrifying
issue 6
stuff.
in a nutshell.
I mean, you gotta start, as we have so often, with giving props to Dragotta, especially for those crazy sequences.
Child?
With yes, one, punting the child, phenomenal. I want you to know, I read that and I immediately said, 1, love it. 2, Jay is gonna love this. Like, this man is gonna absolutely love a weird pink child being punted. But Dragotta does such an amazing job with just filling a page with panels. Like, there is no panel count that this man cannot accommodate. And it makes everything feel so, like, packed in and dense. You get so much mileage out of every issue of Absolute Batman, which is great because Scott Snyder is also a really dense writer. Like, he's not one to really give himself room to breathe either.
On there.
Honestly, I think it helps him to have Dragotta as an artist where it's like, okay, we're gonna have a bunch of small panels, so I can't fill them with caption boxes.
Yeah. But also I think the fact that Dragotta can do that allows him to do a lot of montaging, which is like prime real estate for captioning. Yeah. So, double-edged sword.
It's truly a match made in heaven. Honestly, I think they work so well together. I will say, though, I feel like this is the first issue of Absolute Batman where I feel like the writing has stumbled a little. Like, it felt like they had a lot to get through in this issue, and maybe we expedited ourselves through a bit too much of it. Like,
it feels weird that we get, like, Batman's absolute low point in the last issue, and then we kind of get his great triumph here, and it doesn't feel like there's much pathway between them. Like, I wish him revealing his identity to his friends had more space.
Yeah, like, it doesn't even have a moment. We just know that it happens.
Yeah. which is, I think unfortunate.
Yeah, which is a bit of a bummer because I really think that one of the things that's really intrigued me about Absolute Batman has been this like childhood friend group for Bruce, and I hope that with this second arc, because this is the end of the first arc, I really hope that that gets explored more, and that them knowing that he is Batman is what kind of pushes them all to interact together a bit more.
I agree. I overall I still really like this issue. Like I
Oh
think
yeah.
that they do such a good job with building out this world with Gotham.
Hmm.
I liked Alfred's beats in this, even though he didn't get a lot of space. Yeah, it was a good issue, but I think weirdly we would have benefited from an issue between last issue and
Hmm.
this one, or maybe just a refocusing. Like I don't know that the Gordon and Martha stuff was as important as potentially getting Bruce's time with his friends,
Yeah, especially because he wasn't like, because one of the big things with that is because he knocks at the party animal servers, the people on the street aren't going to kill Martha and Gordon. But Bruce doesn't know that, so there's not like a motivated tension there. It's just kind of a
Oh, and
happenstance thing.
instead it ends up being like perfect timing, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, did we need that many pages to build up to perfect timing, or could that have just been like a quick thing where you got it at the front and then it
Hmm.
came back at the end instead
Yeah.
of like a
Because I
longer
do
thing?
love getting to see Martha Wayne punch someone out. That's great.
Yeah,
That's a Martha Wayne that I want.
agreed.
But speaking of
But
strong
yeah,
women punching people out, are you ready to talk about Wonder Woman? Or was that abrupt?
sure. Yeah, let's talk about Wonder Woman
Hell yeah.
issue 6.
Yes, this is from writer Kelly Thompson and artist Mattia Dialusis. Hayden Sherman is the normal artist for Absolute Wonder Woman, and they're going to be back on issue 8, which is the start of the second arc. I believe we have a 2-issue fill-in
Yeah,
here.
with Hades.
Yes, with Hades. Last we saw Diana, Witch of the Wild Isle, last of the Amazons, Wonder Woman. She had been being dragged back to hell. The hand dragging, it turns out, belongs to the god of the underworld himself, Lord Hades. She's escaped hell, and that concerns him, as it would for the Lord of the Underworld.
As it
Diana,
would.
yeah. Diana engages Hades in what feels like a very kind of like Grecian-inspired storytelling prisoner moment. I was like, it's giving Odysseus. And she shares she shares with him the story of her lasso's creation, her lasso Nemesis, which includes a barter that she made with the bound Titan Prometheus, who also then gifted her Pegasus, and the slaying of the last basilisk. We're treated to Diana with a sharp tongue and a strong moral obligation in this issue, and it ends with Hades revealing that he has discovered Diana's own personal weakness, her adoptive mother Circe, who he has bound as his prisoner. That very dramatic stinger is then complemented by some bonus content from Dustin Wen, showing the adorable adventures of Lil Diana. Just like, you all know Dustin Wen, he did Lil Gotham and a ton of like really gorgeous other stuff, but relevant for this Lil Gotham. And so it's just like this little chibi Diana saving woodland creatures and existing in hell as a little
It's
baby
fun.
child. But yeah, that's Absolute Wonder Woman number
Yeah,
6.
yeah. To talk about the main issue, because I
Yeah.
don't think Little Diana is going to be the focus of my review. I think this is the first time that Diana's magic has actually felt like it had some weight to it. Like it was finally like,
Hmm.
oh, she actually had to do things to do this, when it's just like
Right?
random ingredients that we have no, bearing on. So I thought that was really nice. It felt so deeply rooted within like actual Greek mythology, which was
Right.
really really nice, instead of like DC's Greek mythology as Wonder Woman typically is. So I thought this was a very cool, clearly a fill-in issue, and I think the next issue is,
Yeah.
despite also kind of being a fill-in issue, I think the next issue is kind of set up to feel like less of a fill-in issue, whereas this one, I think, because it's like, here, we're going to give you kind of the backstory to something that doesn't super need a backstory, but it's still well done. But I think for a fill-in issue, it worked really, really well. I quite liked this art style for Absolute Wonder Woman. I
Me
thought she
too.
looked pretty rad with it. So I thought that was a big boon for this issue. Yeah, it was a little bit different from kind of the like pace we're used to in Absolute Wonder Woman. Instead of like no character, go, go, go. It was a lot more of like, oh, here's the character interacting and doing things. So I think it was a needed change of pace at this point in the
Mhm.
story, and I thought it did its job fairly well.
I definitely agree with that. I also think that it was really important that we had this really character-focused Diana story to make us feel the stakes of Hades having Cersei prisoner. Like
Yes, good point.
Cersei has been, I think, both of our favorite parts about Absolute Wonder Woman.
Oh
Like
yeah,
all the time
easily,
in Hell
easily.
has been much more engaging than the
She's had
time
the
in
most
Gateway City.
character to
Mhm.
her. Everybody else has been a little flat. She's
Yeah,
actually had more than just like one note personality.
exactly. And the way that she interacts with Diana has been a real highlight. And so down in the underworld again, we do get more of that, and we do get like a good kind of sense of admiration. I think for Diana is like kind of the emotion that I feel as I read this issue. In again the way that like Tales of Heroes do. And so I think that it really helped coming off of like the major and semi unearned victory against the Tetracide
I think that's a
to
great
get these little
characterization.
victories that make you feel like she's the hero again, so that it's like, oh shit, this character who I care about, her mom is being held captive by the Lord of the Underworld.
No, I fully agree with you. I think it's very well placed, and it should, I think, lead into what hopefully will be a very cool next issue, and it might actually
Mhm.
feel like a bigger deal than the end of the first full arc, which is
Right? More an
interesting.
indictment on the first arc than anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was trying to give this more props than anything, but,
Both are true.
well, but do we want to hit on anything else, or do we want to just move right along into
No, I
Absolute
think
Superman?
speaking of mothers, we've got a very mother-focused issue of Superman as well. Take us through it. I mean, different mother.
Well, we're talking about Absolute Superman issue 6 here. So this is following up on, I believe it was issue 4 or issue
Yeah,
5. No, issue 4 of,
issue 4.
I believe Absolute Superman, where we had gotten the full flashback issue to Krypton. We see Kal-El, Kid Kal-El, floating through space in his ship. He spends well over a year drifting through space and growing severely depressed and suicidal before he
Which, like,
finally.
fair.
Oh yeah, I mean,
He's
I
stuck in
like.
space for months on end.
Yeah. Importantly, we also get told like that there's no other inhabitable planets like on this
Hmm.
journey, which I think is really setting up the Absolute Universe to not have a very big
Yeah.
extraterrestrial presence. So just important to the larger Absolute Universe there. But he crash lands on Earth on the Kent farm, and Soul deactivates as Martha and Jonathan Kent take him in while he is injured and unconscious. Jonathan's very concerned about this, but Martha insists that it's necessary. As Kal-El recovers, he's causing damage with his abilities, destroying his dad, etc. And the Kent farm is in great danger due to a lack of rain. And the Kents decide essentially that they're not going to be able to save their farm anyway, and they focus on Cal. Eventually, Cal awakes and runs at super speed through the farm. We then jump forward a little bit and we see Cal using his powers to help the Kents, despite not speaking the language, importantly, here, which is very cool. And he actually serves in different ways as a beacon of hope for both Jonathan and Martha, helping them kind of move forward. Eventually, Soul comes back online and he teaches Cal the language so that he can speak with the Kents. They learn each other's names. It's a nice little moment. But Soul also deactivates Lazarus drones that have been stopping it from raining on the farm as they were hoping to force the Kents into selling the farm to them. This then leads to the Peacemakers attacking, trying to capture Cal for being an illegal alien, but he escapes. We learn that after this, he spent the next 5 years mostly bouncing around, and he considers the Kent farm the home that might have been, which is why, importantly, I said Martha's not really a mother here because she's not his
That
mother.
is fair.
He
That is
didn't
fair.
actually really get to grow up there.
His brief
We then
foster mother.
very brief. Um, then Lois Lane in the present arrives at Smallville Senior Living, where we learn that Martha is in the memory unit. hinting at maybe some not so nice things going on there. And then the issue ends with this great reveal that Brainiac is not actually working for himself. He's not in charge, and he is in fact reporting to Ra's al Ghul.
Looking
With
absolutely shredded and insane.
Which is like, it's such an interesting thing because I feel like it's both something that you maybe should have expected because of the Lazarus, but also
Mm-hmm.
something that maybe you didn't expect because I believe Absolute Batman established that the League of Assassins were all killed, which makes you think like, Ra's put away for
Yeah,
this universe. But nope,
but no,
popping
here
up
he
as Superman
is.
instead.
And Jay, do you really, real quick, want to throw out the creative team on Absolute Superman?
Oh, I'm sorry that
You're
I
right.
totally forgot to do that. The writer is Jason Aaron, and we have a I don't know if it's a fill-in artist or if he's doing the next. I think he's doing the next two as well, just like Absolute Wonder Woman. Carmine Di Giomenico is the artist on this issue as well as the next issue. But
Yeah, we got
yeah,
some
Katie,
films
what'd you think?
happening. Yeah, Absolute Superman has been such like an exponential grower for me. Like it really started off slow the first like 3 issues or so, where it felt really unbalanced and like we weren't getting a good look at Cal. And the past like 3 issues have been really stellar. They've explored this version of Superman really well. I think that Jason Aaron made a really smart choice to focus on, Cal's backstory because it's such an important part of who
Yeah,
like Superman is as an entity, as a character, as a person. And so being able to visit these places, these landmarks in his backstory and see where those roads diverged does a really good laying of groundwork for understanding who this version of Kal-El is and this version of Superman. And I think we also we talked about this with issue 1. We get a pretty strong confirmation this is not Clark Kent. Like he did.
no, this is Kal-El.
Yeah,
Strong.
there's no Clark Kent in this universe. It's
No.
Cal all the way down. Um, yeah, so I think that this was a really great issue. I think that the way that Martha and John were used, like obviously we as the readers see them with such importance. But I think that the way that they're used here to help build out the like mythos of the Lazarus Corporation is also great because it lets them be these important characters while also not bogging down Superman's story by forcing him to, enact the backstory that we've seen for him 1,000 times over, his traditional growing up in Kansas. So I think that this series has just gotten better and better, and that Jason Aaron is doing really smart things with this new twist on truly the hardest character to twist, I think.
I agree with a lot of that. I think the strength of this book has been the flashback stuff, which makes me think that maybe it actually should have been told in a more chronological order.
Yeah.
Um, but I think this was a very strong issue as well. I like it a lot. It's a very, like you said, it's an interesting twisting of Superman lore. The like fact that he still almost made it to the Kents, but something kind of got in the way here. And this also, it sets us up for what is kind of a depressed and like, just broken Superman. Like, this is a Superman who genuinely doesn't think he can save Earth. Like, that is
Hmm.
given to us here. Of like, he
Yeah.
failed to save Krypton, and he thinks Earth is destined to go where goes, and he does not think he's stopping that. Which is a really interesting angle of Superman that I'm here for. Um, yeah, I have a little bit of trepidation with Ra's al
Hmm.
Ghul as a big bad Superman villain, just because I don't know how that obviously it's going to be like a resources but I don't know what that
Well,
fully looks like versus Brainiac being at the helm. I don't know what
mhm.
this Raz is going to be, so I'm holding off judgment to see what this Raz is first. But the like bait and switch of Brainiac in a Raz, I'm maybe not fully on board. I thought it was a
Mhm.
sick reveal, great moment, but I'm a little bit unsure. But this issue, in general, as an issue, phenomenal. I think one of the best absolute issues we've gotten so
Mhm.
far. Very, very good. Um, and yeah, I think Carmine Giamerico also did such a good job of like bridging the
Mhm.
like I think the other Absolute books were like very hard on artist switch, style switch. This was one that was not that. This was more
Yeah.
we're going to keep a consistent look on the book, which I get why the other ones did what they did, and I like it. I think this is the stronger way to do a book like this. I like the more consistent style
Mhm.
continuing through it, so I'm a bigger fan of this artist villain than the other two. Um, but yeah, I like this issue. Good, thumbs up for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Super duper fun time, but are we ready to venture into uncharted territory?
Yeah, why don't you tell us about another quick boy? We were talking about Clark running here. Why don't you talk about somebody
Yeah.
else running?
We have Absolute Flash. This is the first issue of this second wave of Absolute books. The writer is Jeff Lemire and the artist is Nick Robles. Absolute Flash takes off running, literally. Like it's the Flash. What do you expect? Teenager Wally West has itchy feet in his new home at Fort Fox, a military base where his father, Colonel West, is working on Project Olympus. When Wally stays out after curfew, Colonel West's co-worker on Project Olympus bails him out. Enter Barry Allen. Barry sees potential in Wally, and more importantly, he sees that Wally is trapped on a military base with no friends and like a hard-ass father. And so hoping to engage him, Barry brings him down to Project Olympus itself, this vast underground laboratory housing a number of apes in these like clear ball cages. This naturally leads to the chewing out of Wally and also Barry from Colonel West when he inevitably finds them down there. And when Wally butts heads with his dad again at home the next night, he looks for support in the only place he's found it at Fort Fox, Barry Allen. The issue is told through a series of flashbacks, kind of. It's sort of framed as Wally moving through time back to these moments, which I thought was really fun. And they lead us on his journey up to where he stumbles upon Project Olympus seemingly in action. And we know that in this present moment where he's like kind of doing these flashbacks from, he's also brand new to his super speed. Following his super power up, he's being pursued by none other than Captain Cold in a like proto group of rogues, including Captain Boomerang, the Trickster, and the Golden Glider, which is all setting the scene for this upcoming arc. And I can't believe in my blurb I forgot it. My boy Barry Allen, he is dead. Whatever Wally did, whatever happened when he walked in on Project Olympus, we don't see that in this issue. It seems to be what gave him his super speed, and we know that it killed Barry Allen, and Wally blames himself for that. So super exciting stuff going on. Jay, how was your first step in the running shoes of the Absolute Universe?
This I'm trying to throw my mind back. This is I think one of the stronger issue ones we've gotten out of the Absolute Universe. It still does what a lot of them do, which is like because there's a lot of legwork to do in these like how do we do a whole new
Yeah.
concept of an existing thing. We don't get a ton of like character work or forward momentum for our plot. But we actually get a little bit of character for Wally here, which is nice. We get his father, which is nice. Like there's enough connective tissue there. I think the use of Barry here was quite good, and we'll talk
Mhm.
about it compared to the other one of these books that like is playing around with different characters that inhibit a role. And I do prefer this one and the
I
way that
like
this
that
this
you're talking around it.
we'll
Talk
talk
about
about it
Green
when we get to
Lantern.
Green Lantern. We'll
Yeah.
talk about it when we get to Green Lantern. I liked this use of Barry Allen and Wally a little bit better
Mhm.
than how we'll get to there. I thought like the way that we got this backstory with Wally, like you said, kind of like traveling to these moments, was
Yeah.
really rad. Um, and I liked the prototype rogues too. I thought they were cool.
Right?
So yeah,
I
overall, I thought this was a very good first issue.
let me tell you the hoot I hollered when when
Let me tell you, the who the holler.
when Captain Cold put on his glasses and they were the Captain Cold visor, I lost it. I was so excited. It was such a moment for me because at first I looked at him and I like didn't I should have. He's literally wearing like a blue suit
Funny
with
thing
a
is,
fluffy
like before
shoulder.
I like took in the full scene of like the very clear, Boomerang behind him, and I knew he
Yeah.
said Harkness, but I was like, I just thought he was Captain Boomerang because of like the
Oh,
blue.
yeah, that's fair.
Like,
I looked at him and I was like, is that what Wally's dad looks like?
oh, I thought
Because
that
when
too, but I thought his dad was gonna
Mhm,
be like the Captain Boomerang here.
that's
So
fair.
I had that thought too of, oh, that's his dad back, and then I also
But
had the
then
thought of he's Captain Boomerang here. But then yeah,
oh,
he
like
has his name.
such an iconic little move. I
I
didn't
love it.
realize how like excited that would make me.
Yeah.
It's such like a small moment that did so much to get me hype about this like rivalry
Like the
between them. This
immediacy of like we have a Flash, we have a Rogues. Like
right?
I like that. Like there's a again there's good stuff, but I feel like Absolute Flash is doing the least to distance itself,
Hmm.
at least in the first issue, from like what the core character is. Like it was very much like Flash, Barry Allen as kind of a mentor, even though we're not doing it as directly. Rogues, like we really have all the pieces in this
Yeah.
one. Absolute Batman is similar, honestly, in the way that it's like all these pieces are here for
Hmm.
different. Whereas a lot of the other books are going very off the beaten path, which is just a different angle. But I prefer the Flash and Batman angle of like
Yeah.
same but different.
Yeah. And I think that they also have the benefit of both being kind of I don't know like it's funny to say that Absolute Batman is like light because it's very much not. But like if you compare it
He cuts at
to
a child with a light vest. There's
yeah,
light
yeah.
moments.
But like the thing is when you compare it to the baseline Batman, like you're not going darker
Goofier
than
for sure.
baseline Batman really.
No, it's
Like
goofier than baseline Batman for sure.
yeah, exactly. And I think that this is also one of the like lighter ones where,
Yeah.
you have a weird alien monkey screaming. Like there's a little bit of levity in it. It's about a teenager, so the like it doesn't feel as like Superman is so emo. Diana is from hell. Like I think that these books both also have the benefit of not needing to like sharpen the edge on their characters all that much. Um because Batman is already just that edgy and Flash is not going to be that he's not going to be like dark gritty Flash. Um but yeah, I think that you're right. This is a really strong start to the series. I did really like the framing device with the flashbacks, and I think that they also gave Nick Robles a chance to do like some cute little art moments. Like a lot of this is pretty straightforward art wise, which is not something we've seen a lot of with the Absolute Universe. They've chosen a lot of like they've done a lot of big swings and bold stuff, and so this felt a little tamer in that. But he still got to have those little like uh little fun moments in there as
It,
well.
it's wild to me because I actually had the same thought where I was like, it's wild to me that the book that feels like it has the safest art is the book written by Jeff Lemire.
Right?
I was like, I'm shocked that this isn't the book doing what Martian Manhunter's doing. Like, I'm shocked
Mhm.
that Jeff Lemire is not the one who is like, let's do something. Oh,
Let's do something weird. Let's smoke something and then draw.
yeah, exactly.
But like that isn't to say that Nick Robles isn't doing cool stuff. Like the second page is this
Well,
awesome
I mean,
double
that page was
splash.
everywhere in like the
Yeah.
previews and stuff. Like, they plastered that page everywhere for good reason.
Like
Um,
super cool. And like the character designs are so cool. So I'm not trying to like diss Robles by
no,
saying this.
it's
The
very
way
good.
that he
It's just like
does
they,
the super
yeah,
speed is so great.
yeah.
It's just that
It's
the
just they're
Absolute
not
Universe
like,
has been so weird.
yeah, like it's good art, but it's like
Yeah,
not like, oh, what the fuck am I looking at art?
yeah.
So,
It's not Hayden Sherman making page layouts in the shape of like
like
Greek
cuts. Yeah,
vases. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a super good issue. I like you said, a really strong start. I do think
Yeah.
it might be one of the best number ones that we've seen so far. Now that we've seen
Just
six of
thinking about it,
them.
like probably Absolute Batman #1's the other one that's like there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Absolute Wonder Woman #1 at the time was like so exciting, and then because of how
You're
much the
right. We
the
did
series
love
kind of
Wonder Woman number
decayed,
one as
um,
well. No, but Wonder Woman #1, you're right, was
yeah,
was very very good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But I think that it Absolute Flash has immediately made an identity for itself, and just because it isn't like the polar opposite of what Flash normally is not a bad thing. It really it does get you out there rolling, and I'm really excited to see what they do with the characters. It's the one that feels the most like a twist instead of like a head turn. to me.
Yeah, I fully agree with
Yeah.
that, and I think that's why it made me excited. It feels more like the Marvel Ultimate books versus the DC
Mhm.
Absolute books, if
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It does. At least to me. But then we have probably the biggest head turn of them all. It's time to go through Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Oh my god. So, Absolute Martian Manhunter #1. The writer is Dennis Camp, and the artist is Javier Rodriguez. Absolute Martian Manhunter is hard to describe as a whole, so I'm going to start with the literal. It is the story of Special Agent John Jones of the FBI's Anti-Terrorism Task Force. He was recently in an explosion, like yesterday, something like real recently. And he's lying to everyone around him so he can continue to work instead of taking time off. He lies to his wife, he lies to his boss, but he has no illusions about lying to himself, as in the aftermath of the explosion, he has seen visions of smoke. Hearing the smoke too. The thoughts of everyone around him are smoke in the air, choking him and confusing him, becoming denser and more unavoidable as he begins to investigate the bombing that should have killed him. By the end of the issue, John is fully communicating with the smoke, or rather, the being that he sees within it, this Martian character. He describes the voice as being green and acknowledges his own like mind fuck with that. Uh, and that being, the being that together with John is gonna be the Martian Manhunter. We can see it in the smoke, and they do a cute little thing on the last page that I quite like. Jay was a little disappointed in, but they have you hold up the thing, and then
I
there's
thought it
no
was
light
gonna be
source.
more than just them having the image printed on the other side. I thought it was gonna be like invisible ink, you know?
You know, I won't hold it up. We'll leave that to your imaginations.
Yeah.
We don't, normally withhold spoilers on our absolute books, but it's hard to show this one. But Jay, Martian Manhunter, kind of a mind fuck.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm
that
gonna
all starts with the art. If I could
Yeah,
just, yeah.
I'm actually not gonna start with the mindfuck. I'm gonna start with
Oh.
something that is we'll talk about as well in Green Lantern, and maybe it's something that I need to let go of. But I think Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern both fall into the exact opposite of what I said with the Flash, which is they did not try to be anywhere even close to like the starting line. Like they, compared to like you look at the first three Absolute books
Mhm.
and like they took some paths, but most of what like okay, this is where this character starts, and let's like twist it, change it, move it to the side, whatever. Flash went, this is where this character starts. We're gonna stay pretty online with that, but do something a little bit different. These two went, this is where this character starts. This is where
Goodbye.
this character with the same name starts. Like to put it aside, like I think that there's, especially with Martian Manhunter,
Mhm.
there's a level to where this isn't John Jones. Like, and that is, to me, a little disappointing. You know,
I have a slight pushback to that. In that I agree with you that the character we met in this first issue is not Jean Johns. Like, this is not the Martian Manhunter that we know and love. I think this is John Jones, and I think the fact that this issue he didn't have like full faculties of the fact that the Martian Manhunter was inside of him and like has kind of symbioted with him. I think that as we go forward, um, and explore the like little green man in the smoke, I think that we might get that character. And even though he's not currently John Jones, I think that the two of them are going to merge more as we go along. And I could be wrong about that. And
I
whether or
think
not
that
that
we have
matters
very
will,
different views
you
of what the
know.
other side's going to be.
Mhm.
I'm getting the vibe more of it's going to be like a second personality type thing. We heard the fact that people call him the Martian, and I
Mhm.
think like that's where this is coming from. The fact that his son, like
Yeah,
portrayed
yeah.
him that way. I think that's where this is coming from versus it being like an actual extra force that he's morphing with. So I think it's going to be a little bit less. I don't think he's ever going to really be a Martian-y
That's
character.
fair, and we don't
Um,
know. I know that Jay and I are both. I think we've kind of different views when it comes to spoilers and stuff. Whereas I generally avoid stuff, and I feel like you always end up saying, "Oh yeah, this was announced a few months ago" or
Oh, yeah,
something.
there was an announcement that he will not be from Mars. Like, I remember that being a big thing. I thought
Mhm.
he was just coming from a different planet, which I thought was weird because the Martian of it all.
Yeah,
I don't know why my brain didn't just go, oh, he's probably just not from another planet, which is, I think, where we landed.
but I mean that
Um,
begs the
but
question
I
of
don't know.
he's
This
not
one
from
is
Mars. Does that mean John Jones, or does that mean Smoke Monster?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But in any case, that puts aside, because that
Mhm.
is my first thing. Like, I think it's a little bit too far away from me.
That is
Like,
fair.
for me, for an alternate universe version, especially one that's going to be a part of a shared universe type thing, I would
Mhm.
still want, Last Martian, or maybe you change that he's not the last Martian, it's other Martians, and Young
Yeah.
Justice style type thing. But I would still want from Mars, to Earth John Jones, and then play with other things, like
Mhm.
to me, the real core thing should still be there. I'm not the writer. It's not my universe. I'm going to put that to the side. It's my slight little gripe. That
That's
being
fair.
said, I do like that this is one of the few absolute books that actually was like really tight on the character. We actually got to know kind of what was going on with the
Mhm.
character. That was very nice. I thought a lot of the art stuff, as trippy and weird as it was at times, was really cool, and it put
Oh
you
yeah.
in like his vibe of being overwhelmed or confused by these
Mhm.
different things. I like that quite a bit. I like that the book is a big swing. Like, as much as I'm talking about the fact that it jumping so far away is, to me, maybe not the best way. I do respect the big swing, and this is
Oh
a
yeah.
huge
This is a
swing.
huge swing. I
So
feel like I
I give them
remember
a
there
lot of respect
being
for it.
a comment from Dennis Camp when this was first announced, where he was like, "Yeah, I
There's
emailed
no way
this
they're
to
gonna let me publish this. Yeah,
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 there's no
yeah.
way they're gonna pick this. It's too weird." And I love that they picked it. This book really works for me so far. Um, and Wonder Woman #1 also really worked for me, and then the rest of the series wasn't great for me. Or the rest of the arc
Until this month.
until this month, yeah. So mileage may vary on how long that remains the case, but I think because it was such like an introductory issue, I don't have the like kind of interpretation qualms yet, because I feel like when we got to the end of the issue, we got to the interpretation of Martian Manhunter, whereas the rest of it, I was like, okay, we're getting introduced to John Jones. And
That's
what role he is going to end up playing may vary. It could be that, the Smoke and him end up being symbiotes. It could be this alternate personality thing. It could even be that he, like, is John, he is John, and he's like lost his memory or something. Like at one point, the Smoke tells him to remember, and it keeps like accessing memories of people. So like there could be a lot going on. So I'm reserving and
that's
being
fair. I will say,
excited
I my,
for.
my, my,
Yeah,
my overall thing was gonna be like, I do think my feelings on this issue are gonna be heavily tied to where
yeah, yeah.
the
Where it
book
goes.
goes. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And I just feel the need. Javier Rodriguez is an absolute mad lad. I was showing some pages earlier. I think one of the coolest things about this book is as John is descending into like this madness, the visuals of the smoke like very much kind of creep up on you. Like it goes from being very
They're done very
minimal,
well.
yeah, to being, more and more and more until at the very end when he's being fully like consumed by it, and you have these just bonkers pages where it's fully just this insane art where I'm like, I would love a print of any single one of these pages, like full color action. It's so gorgeous, it's so cool.
Does the
This
color
is
too, right? I
that's
believe.
what I was just flipping around to check.
I'm fairly certain
um
he does.
I believe he does, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he does.
I
It's
thought so.
so cool. It's so distinct, and I think that that's something that a lot of the absolute books have done. We just mentioned with Flash, not like super stepping outside of a normal style. And I think that it's like you said, a huge swing in so many ways, and the art is definitely one of those swings, and it absolutely out of the park for me. I think it's so fun and so effective.
There we go. We got one more book though.
We got
We
one more
got
book.
Absolute Green Lantern issue 1. This is writer Al Ewing and artist Janoy Lindsay. So, give you the full plot summary here. Friends Hal Jordan, who in this universe is a collectibles dealer, John Stewart, who
A
is
toy
an
salesman.
architect, and Joe Mullen, who is a former police officer, are having a bite to eat together in Evergreen. They mention their friend Guy Gardner, also a cop, who is not there and had an argument with Joe over her no longer being on the force. There's then a bad motorcycle accident outside the window from them after it comes racing down the street glowing green at super speeds, and the three head out to check it out. A big Green Lantern, I say Green Lantern, it's the classic Green Lantern symbol,
Yeah.
but a giant version of it descends from the sky, and a naked alien called Abin Sur is flying in the middle of it. We then jump 5 days later. Hal Jordan is walking through the street, hiding one of his hands in his pocket when a police officer stops him. Things quickly escalate when Hal refuses to remove his hand from his pocket. And once Hal pulls out his left hand, we don't see what happens. There's a blackout panel, but the cop seems to be entirely incinerated with only the badge remaining. Hal later enters a diner where the news is on, and it shows the same giant Green Lantern symbol having crushed a large area of Evergreen. Hal can't help himself and starts rambling and talking to the people of the diner about Abin Sur. He's crying. He's saying that there's this thing called the Green Lantern. Tensions start to rise in the bar as he mentions that he was given a weapon, and then mentions the cop that asked him what was in his pocket. A man pulls Hal's hand forcibly from his pocket, and we see his hand is entirely black. And it seemingly consumes this man. He becomes, I say consumes, he becomes black like it. There you go. A woman working there then shoots Hal, and the bar entirely erupts in black, seemingly killing everyone. Hal then states that he hopes the bullet will kill him, but the black hand won't let it, and it heals him. We then see Joe enter the diner glowing green with the classic Green Lantern symbol on her chest. So there's your absolute Green Lantern number 1.
Yeah, like Jay alluded to with Martian Manhunter, this is another one that really does just completely step away from what we know of the Green Lantern. I mean, what's his name is there? Not Abin Sur. Is it Abin Sur?
Yeah,
Yeah. Abin Sur is there to be like the, disperser of power. But
yeah, but there's no like
very
rings
very different.
getting selected, police corps like that. They're none of that.
There's none of that, and it's certainly jarring, and it's a tough issue to like kind of get a sense of who Hal is, because in the flashback with John and Joe, we get to see him as kind of he normally would be, but then for the rest of the issue and like the really emotionally heavy parts of the issue, he's like so traumatized, he's so shell-shocked, he's so stressed. He mentions that it takes like most of his energy to not let the hand like explode everything around it. So it's hard to get a beat on who our main character is going to. Well, I guess also, or possibly our main villain. It's a weird setup where we follow Hal, but we can very much see that he is not wielding a power for good, at least not in its current form.
No, I mean this is again like the outside universe spoilers. I think we know Joe's the main character of the series.
I did not know.
I've definitely told you, but
Oh yeah, that doesn't mean that I retained it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a little bit of a weird one. In a way that, again, I don't know you really expect when you're going into an Absolute book. Like, it feels... Because Absolute books, we're looking at kind of like this world where chaos reigns instead of order, and what becomes of our heroes in that world. Whereas this one, I think even more so than Martian Manhunter to me, feels just like kind of an alternate universe.
Yeah,
not
this
a specific
one's so
universe.
far away. Like I like the vibe of, oh, maybe they're all friends before, like, like
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
not a bad move. But then like I I don't know that it's still Green Lanterns if they're not, an intergalactic like that's what the Green Lanterns
Right, yeah.
are. So if they just have the same powers, but it's not the same, like you're taking a big sidestep there, and then like you're putting Hal in a position where he's not gonna really be a Green Lantern, which I think is
Mhm.
rough. Um, so it's this one's the one that, from a premise standpoint, I think has me the most upset, especially as a Green Lantern fan. Like I'm sitting here, and I'm like, okay, we're just not doing it. Also, like, why did everybody get their normal jobs except for Hal? Like, why was it everybody
Right?
gets to be who they normally are, but Hal Jordan, he just sells collectibles.
Very, very weird swing with very weird detail with that. Like I guess it would be too cool if he was a test pilot.
That's my vibe, is like they'd be like, oh, he'd be too calm under pressure for, like,
Mhm.
having the like hand thing, but like
But
I
in
don't
that
know.
case, it's like make someone else have the hand thing. I think that it part of the tricky thing with Green Lantern and also to an extent with Martian Manhunter as well is what you mentioned when talking about the Superman book is if in this absolute universe there isn't like a robust universe of aliens, it really kind of handicaps what you can do with these characters who really rely on those alien stories.
I
Uh
think it's very interesting, the timing, because it
mhm,
doesn't feel unintentional that we get the Superman issue that reveals that the same month
mhm,
that we get the Green Lantern and the Martian Manhunter books that make them both not have their typical
yeah.
alien origins. Um, it feels like they want to be very Earth focused, which is like fair, but then maybe Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern are not good 2 out of 6 choices, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because it does beg the question of like what this universe looks like because DC is like they got a lot of fucking aliens in DC. Uh like it's hard to imagine a DC universe where there aren't Tamaranians, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
weird thing to be like, "Oh yeah, uh the Martian Manhunter is not actually a Martian."
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird when you limit what's going on in space. But I do understand why they would. I think that it is something that also puts a lot of clogging on the DC universe. Like when you're looking at a new universe, do you want to deal with an entire galaxy? Or is it easier to have like, one alien? And then it can also be like a point of struggle for him that he's an alien. Uh so I think that
I
it
think
makes
it's
a
fair.
lot of sense, but it does like you said, it's not that it's a bad thing to make a universe without aliens. It just makes no weird choice to go Martian Manhunter Green Lanterns.
Yeah. To pull us back to this issue a little
Mhm,
bit, I do want to say this is like, I feel like so inverted from what I was saying about a lot of like the when we were talking about the first 3 Absolute books
mhm.
as they were coming out, where especially Superman and Wonder Woman, where it was like conceptually I love these, but the execution maybe lacking. This feels like a big inverse of that, where I'm like, conceptually, I really, really, really dislike this. Execution, I thought this was a solid issue. Like, I think a lot
Right?
of the stuff with Hal, needing to hide the hand and that, and then the way that it erupts, I thought the whole diner scene was done really, really well. It was really
Mhm.
cool. The tension built in a really organic and natural way that you felt. Um, so I thought, like, as an issue, I thought it did its job very well. I like the art a lot from Janoy Lindsay. I thought that
Yeah,
they did
yeah.
a phenomenal job. Um,
Very like
but
anime
yeah,
inspired.
yeah, it does. It
Mhm.
does feel so. But yeah, like, as an issue, I thought it worked decently well. So I do want to say that, because I'm ragging as somebody who is very
No,
attached
that's
to
very fair.
normal Green Lantern things. You know, I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
want to still
yeah.
give the credit to the execution, even if the
Absolute
idea
Green
is maybe
Lantern
not my
contains
favorite.
multitudes. Uh, yeah, I am curious to see what we're looking at in terms of what being a Green Lantern means in this universe. So it is, I feel like there is, kind of like with Martian Manhunter, where there is more to explore and learn with this universe that has me, excited to see what weird shit Al Ewing is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Jay, did you have a favorite Absolute book from this week?
Ooh,
Or, I'm
that's a
sorry, from
good
this month?
question. It was a good month for the ongoing
It really was.
books, and I thought Flash had a good first issue as well. So it's a bit of a tough pick for me. Um, I I think I'm gonna have to give it to Superman 6 though. I
That's
think
fair. That's fair. Superman 6 was real, real good. I think I might give mine to Flash. I think
that's
that it was
fair. Flash 1 was
a
real
really
real
good
good.
starting.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I might give it to Martian Manhunter though, just because it was pretty up my alley as well. You know what? I'll do Martian
Yeah, you
Manhunter.
can't just keep saying mites. You gotta.
Fine. For those of you who don't know, if this is your first time on our channel, we are the Scripteers. We do our pull list rec every week, and I figure with our Absolute books, if we each pick a pull list rec for you as well, you can even if you're not going to explore the whole universe, you can at least check out the coolest corners of it. So I'm going to
Yeah,
recommend
so far they're very
that
separate.
you pick up
Yeah,
Martian Manhunter #1.
and I'm gonna just say Superman number 6. It's a bit of an origin issue, so you could easily jump on here.
There you
I'd
go.
do it. Go for it. But yeah, that's kind of all we've got here. We have some great stuff up on the channel, including a Hush retrospective leading into
Yes.
our Hush 2 review on the main episode this past week. We interviewed John Layman recently, so if you're a Titans fan, a Chew fan, a Scorched fan, basically anything that John Layman has done, you're gonna want to check that out. But what do we have coming up? I think we probably have a Strange Saturday Super Show coming up soon.
We sure
Tier
do.
list video, other stuff. But yeah, check that all out. And every month we will be here for more Absolute reviews and recaps. But as always, we hope to see you next week. Comic Geek.